Yeah, yes, time for some information about the poster project. But so this is really not so much new information. It's mainly the same information as you can read in the course PM, but this hour now is mainly meant for discussions and maybe ideas. But the poster project, as it says in the course PM, it's where you're supposed to do a small study. Ideally, you do something really practical or test some technique or something, but that might be hard. So it's also okay to take a look on a more theoretical topic, maybe summarize an area or digging into some kind of interesting technology. In the end, it should be presented as a poster and also a recorded video. So, and a poster, it's typically some kind of size A1 or A2. And from a practical point of view, it's typically easier to, maybe if you do it yourself, you can print out A3 in our printers, for example. And then you can put many A3 together as a larger thing. That's the absolute most easiest way. And usually color is more fun, not only black and white. But when you have your poster, you should record and publish a video. That is, typically you are standing maybe at your poster, or you are presenting it maybe in the form of some kind of PowerPoint or something. And then you should give a 5 to 10 minute presentation of your poster, the kind of results you have, background things, problem. And you should be visible yourself, at least in the beginning, maybe, to make it a little bit more personal. And also that you, it's actually very clear that it's you that is presenting as well. That might be important for me. And when you have published your brief video, you should include a link to your video using a QR code and putting it on the poster. It could be a separate note only, but it could also be in your poster in some fancy way. So that's the idea. And in the schedule, we have a poster session in the end of the course. And we will typically be in the bottom of the B house. And there we will have these poster stands and be able to put up our poster. So it should be, you should print it yourself and bring everything. And then we put it up. And the first year students are invited. So you will get a lot of audience to mingle around and ask you questions. And you will be the expert of your subjects. That's nice. So what is a poster session really? Well, if you look it up on Wikipedia, it's very common in scientific conferences and things like that. Here is a microbiology general meeting. And sometimes you only have talks and presentations, but quite often you also find these poster sessions where everyone puts up posters. They can be quite large areas. Here they have quite professional, printed in a more expensive way. We have no such printer in school, so in that case we need to hire a more expensive service downtown or something. But it's much more, it's easier to just print out many A3 and put on top of each other or something, besides each other. And then the audience, you typically stay at your poster, and the audience mingle around and discusses with you your latest research findings. That's a typical poster session. And as a kind of, I have a link here to kind of craft of scientific posters where you can get some ideas and tips, maybe. So it's a little bit about this kind of presentation, and you have examples and you have templates and you have kind of tips on how you could design things. But examples are maybe the most interesting. So these are some examples of posters. And if you look at one of these, it's a lot of pictures, but not so much text. So it's kind of lightweight. But that's kind of optional. You could have, it depends. If you, in a normal poster session, you typically stand besides this poster and can explain a lot more than what's in the poster, really. The poster is mainly to catch the bypassers, to make them stop. And then they start discussing, and then you tell them the real story. So that's one way of doing it, but I think you should aim for a little bit more content on the posters, actually, in this course. And that you could easily do by making 2 of these posters. And especially if you do A3 and put together, you can have 4 A3s. But be careful, it should not be too much content. It should not be too small font. It should be readable when you print it out and back a few steps. So it should not be really too crowded. Yeah, so it's a little bit trade-off. Larger, less text, it's more catchy, but contains less information maybe. So you need to find some good trade-off between content and visibility here. But here you have some design tips, writing templates actually for PowerPoint, I think. You can find some, but you can also create it's quite easy to just do your own and put some pictures and text, I think. So I'm not sure these templates are perfect. And beware of templates. If you're going to print it out, you need some sensible sizes. These are maybe letter standards, US standards, inches. Be careful. It might be better to use some A3 or A4 or A standard size. Otherwise, the printer will get mad at you, maybe. So we can print at the service center. They have about the same printers as we can use ourselves. So I'm not sure it makes any sense. So I think it's easier to just print it out ourselves. I will check if we can maybe get some professional printing service, but then it costs a lot of money, I think. So maybe not possible. We'll see. We'll see. But what kind of ideas? You can choose subject area yourself. It should be within the course subject areas. And you have heard some stuff in the course, but there are still some remaining topics like the car industry, CAN buses next week. And then we have localization and Mats with wireless radio communication. So there are still some subjects to be covered in the coming weeks. But hopefully we'll have some general idea what's inside this course. And here are some buzzwords maybe. So it could be this Industry 4.0, smart stuff, automation, robots, AGV, that thing you have played with. Internet of Things, cyber physical system, wireless technology of all kinds of things. Maybe take a look on some new things. Time-sensitive networking, Ethernet, cloud edge, fog computing, radio stuff, more detailed communication stuff, protocols. Latest kind of standards, it can be Wi-Fi standards, whatever. Mobile networks, 5G, mesh networks. This is a popular mesh networking standard, widely used. One example is Zigbee, which is a commercial mesh network. You have positioning, localization, GPS, other kinds of things, and then connected everything, smart everything. Yes, smart X. So you actually could pick something, whatever here, and do something. Ideally, you should do something practical. Then it's easier to get the result and proudly tell them that you have done something. But it could also be more theoretical summary or study of a subject. I leave that open because it might be hard actually to do something. Alice wrote to me here as well. David, PTC, AI. Oh, well, that sounds nice. But this is the last picture, so I think I will stop the recording and then we start really discussing more widely here ideas and topics.